Is it just me, or is Gucci Mane in the movie Get Out?
Gucci Mane and his wife just went on Breakfast Club, and she's a real one. One of the things you always want to see is family involvement with the client, especially if somebody has schizophrenia. I heard him talk about drugs, and so there is a diagnosis of drug-induced schizophrenia. That could be what he's dealing with, but I don't know.
If you think that Keyshia is not anything other than a handler to Gucci Mane, if you are a woman, I know you are out here letting men manipulate you. And if you are a man, I know that you are out here manipulating people.
Everybody is saying Gucci Mane's wife is his handler, and don't get me wrong, she is. She's very much a Hollywood handler. But she better be handling everything. Gucci Mane is crazy. Remember back in 2010 or 2011 when he pushed the lady out of a moving car?
I don't know how to feel about this one, but what I do know is I hope you like this video so I can level up and get a real mic. That part. Hey Visionaries, it's A back on your screen with another one, and if you're listening to this on a podcast platform, you're listening to the Authentic with Alisha pod, where we keep it real and rooted in purpose. This episode is inspired by the recent interview on the Breakfast Club with Keyshia Kaoir and Gucci Mane, and yes, I said it in that order because she was doing most of the talking. When I first listened to that interview, I was like, Then I headed over to TikTok, and that clock app is always on a different type of time. The way they dragged her, I was like, wait a minute. And then Nicki entered the chat, and I was, hold up, what's going on?
So this is why Nicki Minaj dragged Keyshia Kaoir.
Or feel that way, but from the outside looking in, they should acknowledge him. Even if they win an award, acknowledge him.
Oh no, by now, Nicki Minaj took to X to call out Gucci Mane's wife, Keyshia Kaoir, for copying her over the years. Initially, I was confused as to what happened to trigger Nicki. I found it weird, especially considering the fact that Nicki Minaj always gives Gucci Mane his just due.
As far as Gucci, shout out to Gucci, that's my baby. Gucci would call me like every day, like, let's go and steal your shot. I'm like, what? Just leave me alone, Gucci. But he really pushed me to get in the studio and work, and he works very quickly. So in like a month, we did like 6 records.
This is a story Nicki Minaj has told multiple times, and she always says Gucci Mane and Deb Antony really helped her get her foot in the door in Atlanta. So I'm confused.
Part of me feels like that's a cheat code though, because if you mention Nicki's name, Nicki, you are the queen. Sometimes you don't need to address the court. But this is one of those few times that I'm like, you know what? Yeah, social media always has so much to say on topics like this, but sometimes they shift from the main focus to talk about something completely different. I was over here like, wait a minute, how did we get from schizophrenia and mental health to she's a handler and the wonderful world of witchcraft? Cue the clips.
I think there's some weird stuff going on. Really weird the way that she speaks on him and speaks on everything. And for me personally, I've been felt like Gucci, like, let's keep it real. It was like, who cloned Tyrone? I felt like it been given that type of situation anyway.
That ain't no Gucci Mane. Listen to her. She won't even let him speak. She think everything is an episode. It's like any feeling that Gucci had that don't line up with what she want. Episode.
Everybody know ever since Gucci Mane got out of prison, he ain't been the same since. They saying Keyshia Kaoir is his handler, and yes, I believe the same thing.
So yesterday, everybody was talking about Gucci Mane and Keyshia Kaoir's Breakfast Club interview. And of course, the conspiracy theorists came out saying that Gucci is a clone. They're saying Keyshia Kaoir is his handler. Some people even called her a witch. What the hell is wrong with you? Who gains what from cloning Gucci Mane? Like, what's the purpose? What has the clone done in those 9 years? When you clone something, the clone comes out as a baby. They don't come out as a fully grown adult man.
Kaoir a witch? She put a love spell on Gucci Mane? Ooh. Like, I done heard it all.
Internet's reaction says a lot about how we treat mental health. Some people are showing support, but others are calling it witchcraft or blaming his wife. And that right there is the reason why people, especially in our community, stay silent about mental health.
I don't know what she practiced, but you know she's Jamaican, and a lot of Caribbean women, they be rooting and booting up they men. Y'all picking up what I'm putting down. They be doing that love work, that binding joint, like they be doing.
One thing I found slightly entertaining is how people were calling her witch and saying she was putting root. I'm learning all these new terms. I don't know about this juju business. Conspiracy theorists never cease to amaze me. I just did a little research before this video because I listen to the music, but beyond that, I don't cape for these celebrities, so I don't really invest in their past. From what I gather, Gucci Mane has been through a lot. I actually want to listen to his autobiography and his recent book that he was promoting. If there's anything interesting, I will share it on Patreon. Just give me a couple weeks. I'm legally blind, so I can't just pick up a book and read it. I'm very intrigued by his and her story. I think it says so much about who we are and where we are in our life as well. It's not missed on me that she's also got some trauma in her past as well. When he kept speaking of triggers, I'm like, no wonder. For some of the things you've gone through, he's done a lot and he's been through even more. So it's no surprise to me that he's got mental health issues.
East Atlanta definitely trigger episodes for me. 100%. I had an episode and my wife, after the episode, she was like, I wish I would have taped you so I can show you how you was acting. It's so bad, Black. It's so embarrassing. It's scary.
Yeah.
And then you be like, damn, I can't believe I said that out my mouth. My autobiography almost made me cry. I don't think about that no more. You know what I'm saying? That was like, I know we were poor, but it ain't like nothing I dwell on. When you go back to think about it, stuff from my youth trigger me. You know, old friendships, you know, that went sour. There's a lot of stuff can be triggers. I can, you know, some songs even trigger me.
One of the things I've always said on my podcast is we say so much about ourselves by the way we say it and the words we choose.
During the moment, I'm kind of like stressed out. I'm a prayer warrior. I just pray. And once he starts getting better, honestly, I'm okay. Like I said, it takes 14 days to get him back.
My best decision ever was to marry her and be with her.
There's a couple key words that had my ears perking up like, ooh, I get the message, but maybe not this way. And certain things maybe you just shouldn't say. She seems to be a very confident, well-spoken woman. I wish that she didn't say as much as she said because it seems like they've been pretty private. I might be mistaken. Again, I don't really follow them to know. I was a little fearful that the importance of mental health would be lost on the fact that she was saying certain things in a certain way. And when I heard other people's commentary, I was unfortunately right. We had it and we dropped the ball on the opportunity to talk about mental health in the Black community. And now it's more about Keyshia Kaoir copying Nicki Minaj's outfits, which, wow, these internet sleuths never sleep. If we sway away from the wild side of witchcraft more to the handler perspective, I can kind of see where people are coming from. It is giving conservatorship, I cannot lie.
Now, how I knew this interview was gonna be good is because in the first minute, Gucci was trying to figure out when he had his last major episode. And he was like, 2019, 2020. Keyshia was like, she said it like that because she remembers the things that people with schiz and bipolar say and do when they are in an episode. It makes you question your whole entire being. Now, there were a few things that I didn't agree with in the interview. One was that Keyshia kept saying, I can fix him. I can fix him. No, ma'am, you cannot. I've been married to my husband for 10 years, and I am here to tell you, I agree with Gucci when he said, you gotta wanna do it yourself. And there was a bit of contradiction. Keyshia kept saying he hasn't had any episodes since his COVID episode, 2019, 2020, 2019, 2020. But if you listen very closely in the interview, she said, you see, you guys haven't known about any other episodes since 2019, 2020. It's not that he hasn't had an episode. It's just the episodes have gotten easier. Which is why she said when she catches the episodes now, he can snap out of it. She is right, but you guys are right too. First of all, you can't snap out of schizophrenia.
Gucci Mane is opening up like never before in his new memoir, Episodes, where he talks about being diagnosed with bipolar and schizophrenia disorders. Now, I ain't gonna lie to y'all, I was today years old when I found out that Gucci had bipolar or schizophrenia disorders, and it seems like that's due in large part to his wife, Keyshia Kaoir's diligent work.
First, I thought it was beautiful hearing Keyshia open up about the realities of being the wife to someone that has mental health struggles, because people act like people don't have schizophrenia, DID, bipolar, borderline personality, like this happens in real life. So at first I took Keyshia saying that she takes his phone or she deletes apps off his phone whenever he has episodes. I've seen it as her being supportive to her husband. But then as I listen to her talk more, I'm trying to figure out how supportive is she really? Because how supportive of a wife can you be when in the same conversation you say that you don't have any mental health issues, that your husband doesn't, that you're stronger than him? What type of supportive wife says that?
That woman is Jamaican, okay? She 9 times out of 10 comes from a background of real bad minds, okay? That's why she like gunman. That's why. Okay, that's why she would help him. But she was able to change him, help him. And honestly, like, yeah, she was able to do it, but she couldn't do it on her own per se. He did have to want that for himself at some point in time, which took self-reflection, self-realization. So Yeah, Keyshia Kaoir is not his handler. That is a wife.
Mental health is not only stigmatized, but it's also weaponized against people to say that because someone is having an episode or acting erratically, they're not capable of taking care of themselves or making concise decisions. Now, I'm not a psychologist. I'm not a TikTok guru that pretends to have a degree in ABCD. I can't really speak on schizophrenia or DID or any of these things specifically. I'm still trying to learn just from my own knowledge. There is so much context there that we could add to the conversation as far as caregivers, whether they be significant others or family members or friends. I was really hoping for this to be a turning point where we could discuss it from the aspect of the people who have to care for those who are sick on any level, as well as the people suffering from different types of ailments, syndromes, and disorders and diseases. I've always shared on my platform what it's like to live life legally blind, but I cannot speak for my family members and friends who have to adjust for me. I feel like that's a perspective that's often overlooked, but
I grew up with a mother who was diagnosed with schizophrenia and manic bipolar disorder. And for y'all to get on here and say that she was his handler when y'all don't even understand what it's like to deal with somebody that's going through, especially if you love them deeply, you are going to be let down so often. More often than not, to be honest. That man is a pillar in the hip hop community, and he got on there and said, I was losing my mind. I was losing touch with reality. Like, I was cursing out and ready to fight people I have known my whole life who have never done anything to me. And y'all said that she was just his handler and she controlled his money. And she told us she got to if you dealing with a mother.
And kind of like that conversation she had a couple months, or was it a year ago? I don't even know. On that boat, when she was talking about she does everything for him, all you gotta do is bathe. I look at that a different way. It really puts in perspective when you have this conversation to complement it.
Only thing Gucci gotta do is shower. He don't gotta do nothing else. I do everything for that man.
She was alluding to us that he really need that extra care and attention, but then the way she's giving it seems like it's a lot for the average person, which makes me also wonder, what is the average person's definition of partnership, love, and commitment, depending on what means you have? I mean, it's a lot easier for her because she can turn down all the help and aid that she could technically pay for if she wanted to. But for the average person who has to work long hours, can you really hold the weight of taking care of someone who needs that much care on your own? Something else that stays rent-free in my mind is this is all for the brand. The brand as in who these two sell themselves to be to the public, as well as the products that they're currently selling. Him a book, apparently she's now a consultant of sorts. $500 US for a non-psychologist to tell me what? Psychologists don't even cost that much hourly. I don't know what's going on in this economy, but not that.
I was rocking with the Gucci Mane and Keyshia interview until I saw that Keyshia was then selling mental health consultations for $525.
There's a small part of me that wants to dismiss all of this and just chalk it up to it being a big ad. Every element of it, the conversation around mental health, the bringing up Nicki Minaj, the sentiments that were said. But then I see that there's a possibility and a great potential for a conversation to be had. And that is why I want to focus this second half of the episode on the psychology behind a lot of this. Like I said, I'm not a psychology major. I think I took like one course in university, that doesn't count. But from what I know about schizophrenia, it's not the same as DID. It's often mistaken as DID, dissociative identity disorder. That's usually synonymous with multiple personality disorder. They're usually mistaken. I think a lot of it has to do with pop culture, what we consume in movies and books, and the sensationalization and stigmatization of mental health syndrome. When you do a little reading, watch a couple of videos, and you get acquainted with what it means to be schizophrenic or any similar disorders, you realize it's a very complex occurrence, and it happens, like he said, in episodes. Now, what I didn't like is how she made it sound like she just snaps him out of the episodes. I don't know much, but I know that doesn't sound right, and I know a lot of people feel the same way.
I think it's strange that nobody asked Keyshia Kaoir what she was talking about on The Breakfast Club. She can snap her fingers and Gucci Mane is no longer in a schizophrenic episode. What are you talking about? That's not how that works, okay? My uncle who has it. And my brother was in the house when he had two episodes, and my brother was scared for his life both times. Now, we laugh about it now, but when it happened, my brother was scared.
There's also the part where she mentioned it takes about 2 weeks for him to kick in and get back to his normal or his baseline. I'm thinking about how trying those times are for those 2 weeks. I want to hear more about that experience. There's so many directions we could take this conversation, and I'm so sad that it's being hijacked by this handlership. The wonderful world of the web. People are dealing with mental health. I call it mental health because it's just like physical health. It's something that you have to maintain and work on each and every day. I personally go to a therapist. I've been going for 5 years now. I started going in 2020 when my dad passed away, but if I'm honest with you, I should have gone years ago. Maybe around the time that I started losing my vision, because I was in denial about that. I also can speak from a place of realizing that therapy is not for everyone. And even the type of therapy is not for everyone. There's talk therapy, there's somatic therapy, there's group therapy. And it's disingenuous for people who do therapy to tell people to do therapy that maybe it's not meant for them. The same way it's disingenuous for people who don't do therapy to tell people that they're better than them, which is some of the vibes I got from some of the things said when she said that he's weak and I don't go to therapy. I was, wait, hold. I think the biggest misconception we can make is that therapy is for the weak. I think the people who are strong probably need therapy the most because they're so used to having to bear it all. And how do you download the lessons that you learned if you don't give yourself a chance to decompress? And for me, therapy is part decompression, part building oneself up. I have a two-pronged approach to therapy. On one hand, I use it for planning and progressing. So goal setting, which I hate to do honestly, looking towards the future and figuring things out, and also looking back at the past, seeing what worked as far as behavior patterns and thought patterns, and going forward with the knowledge that I've actually processed things to progress on my path. So many people who've never done therapy have so much to say. Internet therapy hasn't helped either because it's put a bad taste in a lot of people's mouth. The right therapist for the right person, I do believe it's like finding a perfect match. I went through a lot of therapists to find the right one for myself. It is a job in itself. I think that is the journey though, committing to oneself. The ultimate self-care. It's not buying something or doing something nice for yourself, it's actually doing the work. Seems that Gucci Mane is doing the work. It's not easy to do. It's very hard to look at yourself and see yourself as something other than what you've been telling yourself you are or have been in order to become something that will be better, but it might be a battle in the becoming. There's also something there with street life being so stressful that it's literally triggering, and I'm happy you spoke on that. We see it sensationalized so much in music and movies and other media forms, but no one talks about how traumatic it is to live this uncertain, unstable lifestyle. One thing I found interesting when I was doing my reading is that it's about 1% of people that have schizophrenia, which is a very small amount. But those 1% usually have a genetic disposition, and also there's usually a trigger, but the trigger is not the cause of it, but the trigger can exacerbate it. I was wondering how many people have this dormant syndrome, and due to repeated things happening in their life, that their mind has to literally separate from reality, which causes these symptoms to come about. Anything comes from this, the least I can hope is that we all take a moment to just reflect back on our lives, to be grateful for what we do have, and to face ourselves in the mirror for what we can work on. We listen and we don't judge over here. So I would love to hear what you have to say or share down below. And thank you for making it to the end of this episode. If you want more, you can head over to Patreon, subscribe, and until next time, stay blessed, stay authentic.